All right. Hello, fellow travelers. This is Robert Sell, and another update on COVID-19, aka coronavirus. I don't know what to call it anymore. Most people are calling it coronavirus, but COVID-19 is the official name for it now. Maybe next week it'll be a different name, but as of now, that's the name. So I want to give a quick update on what's going on right now as far as our risk to travel. What it looks like for me for traveling, what I'm doing, and hopefully that will help you. So some quick news really quickly before I talk about this thing, which I just got in the mail. And and I'm excited to talk about that. I'm sure some of you will have different opinions on it. But the first thing I want to talk about is the latest developments in the news. So we've seen now there's a lot of, what we call fake news. There's a lot of sensationalism, a lot of people trying to be experts on the subject. Lots of stuff going on the internet, as we would expect. If you go on Reddit and you Google Corona, you're going to find a ton of stuff. So there's these new articles that are coming out called, Mythbusters. And to me, while that sounds helpful, I think it's ridiculous for Corona or COVID-19 because we don't know. That's the thing about this, which makes it scary, is we don't know. We don't know what the mortality rate is. We don't know how dangerous this is. What we do know is it's super good at spreading. We have what I'll talk about are the super spreaders. It moves from person to person. We think it's airborne virus as well. It's not just from what you touch. So there's lots of concerns there about things we think we know, and even those things are changing slightly as we progress. But we don't know a bunch of stuff. So there's these Mythbusters out there, these articles that say that they're going to debunk a bunch of things that are on the internet, but they don't know either. So they're just regurgitating something that they've read, and so I think it's bad, right? I think that when we're looking at the coronavirus or COVID-19, tell me what you want me to call it, because I just don't know anymore, right? Is it the Wuhan virus? I don't know. Let's call it Corona for a while, okay, until the COVID thing sticks. The coronavirus, we don't know. So these Mythbusters that say, oh, you know what? Don't wear a mask. You don't need to wear a mask. That's a myth. That's just people trying to make you go out and buy a mask. That's, as far as I can see, wrong. So I would never advocate that. And the reason why is, if you look at the videos of people, the first responders in China, they're all wearing masks. They're all wearing full hazmat suits. They're wearing the eye protection. They're wearing everything, right? Because lots of people have died there, very unfortunately, right? So they're not taking any chances. They're wearing masks. So I'm pretty sure that wearing a mask might be a good idea. So I think that these Mythbusting articles are just pure junk. They're just clickbait, and I would not put much trust into those. What I would put trust into is your own judgment, right? And that's what it always boils down to. Whether I'm saying it or somebody else is saying it, you need to look at it and think for yourself about if that makes sense or not. For me, I personally, with something like this, where we don't know how bad it is, I would lean towards being careful. So that may mean that I wear a mask when I get on a plane. It may mean I wear a mask when I go in the airport or an Uber or something like that, where I'm going to feel perhaps a little uncomfortable, but I have a family and I want to protect them. And a lot of people in China are wearing masks, probably for a very good reason. So that's the first thing. I think these Mythbuster articles are just clickbait, junk, and actually misleading and dangerous, right? They're saying, oh, just wash your hands, you'll be totally fine. No, I don't think that's correct. So, and I would say there's lots of evidence that says that that is actually incorrect. And actually, speaking of evidence, there have been a huge amount of articles written by the scientific community on Corona, on the coronavirus. I think it's more than we've ever seen before, which is good news. The other really good news is that the vaccine progress has been also much better than what we've seen with other things like this, such as SARS. So I've seen someone said in the scientific community that a vaccine could possibly be ready as early as next year. And so when we hear that, that's what kind of allows me to schedule my travel a little bit more. Once there's a vaccine, once I can get the vaccine, then I feel much more comfortable in booking more travel. Until then, I'm not booking a lot of travel. I will travel to different places around the world, not Asia. I will not be going to Asia this year. I don't think there's any chance of that. And not just China. I won't go to anywhere in Asia right now, just because Singapore, those numbers are going up quick. Japan, those numbers are going up quick, and don't really want to be stuck there if that was to happen, like is in China, right? And I think there's definitely a risk of that. So good news is vaccine could be ready by the end of the year. Bad news is with the spread of this right now, we could potentially have 60% of the world impacted or infected, perhaps by that time, right? And that I'm just, for me, full disclosure, that's what I've been reading online, and that seems to make sense. The sources seem to be legitimate. So, I don't want to be in that 60% because I don't know what it's going to be like to get it, how dangerous that is for me. So far, it doesn't seem very good. I also read that it's 23 times more. There's 23 times more deaths than the flu. And so this seems to be another argument that we throw around a lot. People say, it's just like the flu. It's less dangerous than the flu. Oh, so many people die from the flu every year. And yeah, sure, that's true. I think that as you get older, there's a risk from the flu, but we know how to deal with the flu, and we don't have what we saw in China from the flu. So I don't think that it's just the flu. And so when I see 23 times more deaths than the flu, and there was math behind that, I tend to believe in that. But again, use your own judgment, look for the evidence, and make your own decisions and travel wisely based on that, right? So I think that's the other thing. What else I've seen this week over the last few days are a lot of scientists are saying that the what we're seeing now in North America and in Europe is kind of where China was in December. And so we have those initial outbreaks, those initial people that are infected, and where it goes from here, we could see something similar as we saw in China. And that's the risk, right? Hopefully we don't. Hopefully we can control it. But if it does get out of control, if it does go past that kind of breaking point, then we're in trouble. Then the hospitals are going to get overrun. And maybe it's only in particular towns or things like that. I could see that, right? Where you have communities of people that have come over, from holidays or something like that, and they're infected, and then, that happens. So I'm watching out for that. One of the things that was disturbing that I saw was, well, it was both good news and bad news. Again, on the cruise ship in Japan, the plague ship, they released the passengers, which I think was good. They should have never kept them on that ship for as long as they did. What I've seen is the results of the survey they did on the ship was terrible. There was no zoning. There was no really control over the flow. It was just really bad. It was basically kind of like the quarantine rooms we see in China, which everybody's infecting everybody. So not so good. So they released those people. So that's the good news. But all those people just went home. So I think that it would be safe to assume that a bunch of those people are infected and hopefully are getting quarantined again as they get stateside or wherever they're going. So glad they got released, but I really hope we're controlling that flow of people because they're guaranteed infected, right? Like this, how could a bunch of them not be? And we're just assuming they're not because we tested them when they came off the boat. I hope I got that wrong. So if I did, let me know. But that just seems silly to me. The next thing that I was reading about was these super spreaders, and we saw this in Europe where I think it was Brighton, where we saw the one person. And I would hate to be one of those people, especially right now in the news. So they were, I guess they spread it to a much higher number of people than the average number. And I don't have the ratio in front of me, but it was a bunch of people that they infected. And so that's bad. So these super spreaders, I think, are part of the main risk here. So if the one's on your plane or in your bus or whatever, that could be bad news because apparently you can get it much faster and easier from these super spreaders. And so that's bad news. I don't know how they identify them or how that works at all. But and then the other thing, which is good news, is there's these things called, I'm going to pronounce this wrong, chloroquine. Chloroquine, is that how you say it? Tell me how you say it, because I don't know how to say it. I'm terrible at pronunciation. Chloroquine tablets. And so apparently in some countries, you take that as a type of medicine, or it works against malaria or something like that. I don't know, probably not malaria, but it's something that's common in these regional areas. And so the people are taking that on a regular basis as a kid, and we've seen very low infection rates in those areas. Coincidence? Maybe, but that's what they're looking at as part of a treatment, perhaps. I don't have a lot of information on that, but that sounds really interesting. And if there's articles out there that talk about this, I haven't seen them yet that get into the science behind it, or if what we're doing as far as deploying those. But if you have details on that, please let me know. I'd really like to see more of that. I just saw it recently, and so I'm checking in that. Hopefully next time I make a video, I'll have more information on that, because it sounds kind of like Tamiflu pills, where they would administer them that way, and it would help you through the infection. But yeah, still learning about that, but sounds good. It sounds like good news, right? So the other thing is, if you look at the Johns Hopkins map, you'll see the line starting to kind of taper off a little bit. And those are the infections in China. So that's also good news if that continues, and if it doesn't ramp up in North America and Europe. So today, this last couple of days have been good days as far as the trend analysis. There's a lot of groups out there, analytics groups like data scientists and stuff like that, that are currently doing the math on this to see what this is going to look like going forward. And I think that's really good to get that independent study. And I'd like to see more reports like that that show what should we expect over the next couple of months based off of what we know. And what we know changes every day, so those models are going to change every day. But if we can build the models so we can change the variables, that then could give us actually pretty good real-time information. So that's what I'm hoping we're going to get to pretty soon. That and a vaccine. Okay, so what did I buy today? And I bought two of these. These are the Tyvek. They're like a hazmat type suit. You can see the little dude here. He's wearing this. And it's what you see in the videos in China and some other hospitals where they have this, and they have the full face shield, and they have the mask on. And this is disposable. It cost me about $10. I think I got it on Amazon, this one, but they sell them everywhere right now. Made by DuPont. It's 400. I think that's like the fabric material thickness or something. Don't quote me on that, because I don't actually know. I just think that's what it is. Yeah, so it cost me about $10. I ordered two of them. I thought I was ordering the large, but it's actually 4X, which I got a pretty good feeling is going to be like really big. So if I had to wear this, I would use a lot of duct tape, I think, to fasten it and seal it around my boots and my wrists and my neck. And then I would wear my mask over top of that, and then I would seal it with duct tape. So then when I came back, I would probably come into my garage, and I would have someone spray me down with a bleach water mixture. And I think that's typically what they're doing. You know, it's kind of like ghetto style, right? But it's that's just homemade, do-it-yourself type of setup, and that's what I would probably do. So I'll probably never wear this. I might actually wear it during Halloween. But if it gets a lot worse, and for $10, I couldn't go wrong, right? And I was thinking, okay, if this does get worse, and there's a chance it could, then we would probably implement similar rules as what we saw in China, where people get to go out, every couple of days to get food. They would say work from home, unless you have to leave, right? And for me, I would just work from home. That's fine. And if I had to go out, if it was risky, I would wear one of these. Pretty straightforward. I'd wear my mask, and then I would just do the decontamination procedure when I got home with the bleach. That's what I would probably do. So I like to go out and buy these sort of things, especially if it's for $10 right away, because what will happen is, and we saw these with the masks, right? I bought the masks, And then a month later, the masks were 10 times more than what I bought them for, right? And I bought a box and then another box as I saw the price going up. So because I travel a lot, I want to have those readily available to me. And so that's what I did. And so I took the same approach to these. I bought two. They're disposable. I might be able to wear it a couple times, maybe, I don't know. But for $10 each, $20 in total, I don't feel too bad, right? Just a little peace of mind. If it does get worse in North America, I'll be buying more of these, right? I'll probably want a couple dozen on hand, ready to go, just in case. But that's just me. Everybody is going to have their own strategy there. Do what you want to do. But I think that just getting ahead of the game a little bit as far as supplies is probably not a bad idea as we progress with this. I mean, if the trend changes, which it did a little bit this week, then maybe we don't have to be so vigilant in our preparations and being so careful when we travel. But for now, nothing's changed for me yet. There's no vaccine. I don't want to get this stuff. I don't want to get sick. I don't want to bring it home to my kids because I just don't know what it's going to be like. So yeah, so it's kind of cool. I haven't tried it on yet. I'm not going to take it out of the sealed package until I actually want to wear it. So I'm not going to do a fashion show. But there you can see them on the videos of people in China wearing them, and yeah. So I actually, to tell you the truth, I also bought a third one, and the third one cost me. I shouldn't tell you this because it cost me $40. So I haven't received it yet. So when I receive it, I'll show it to you, and it's reusable. That's why I thought, well, $40, $10 if I wear it 4 times. But you're not really supposed to reuse these, because they could be contaminated and then you're going to contaminate yourself. So I thought, well, $40, and it's yellow. So it's kind of like, what was that movie with the guy? And he wore the yellow version of this. So that's my Halloween costume if I never have to wear it in real life. So that's the plan, but reusable, right? So you got to kind of think, well, if I'm going to spray it down, decontaminate myself, I could just hang it up to dry and then I could go reuse it. That might be the cheaper way to go. They get really expensive. So on a suit like that, you can spend $40 was kind of the cheapest for a reusable, but it goes all the way up to thousands of dollars, right? And that's like the full big hooded thing that comes over where it's like so spacious inside, like a spacesuit basically, and really cool, very durable. But I'm not going to spend thousands of dollars on that sort of stuff. I think for a couple hundred, you get a really good one that you could reuse, and it's going to be great. I wouldn't probably spend more than that on one, but for $40 was my limit on a hazmat suit, I think. So yeah, so I'll show you that when it comes in. All right, that's it. That's what I've got for you today. Again, take a look at where you're going. Watch where you're going, bring a mask, bring some Perel, bring some hand wipes. Oh, that's another thing. I just got a whole bunch more hand wipes. I'm trying to get bigger ones that have a higher alcohol content in them. So they're a little bit more effective when you use them. So I got some of those in the mail today too. So I did get other products. So those are not too bad. Still, those are quite affordable. The price hasn't gone up too much on those as well. So yeah, so that's it. Safe travels. Talk to you soon.